Hello, I'm Leisa Souza. I'm head for Latin America at the Climate Bonds Initiative, and I'm here to share what we expect to see in the region in 2022. Before I jump in 2021, the region represented 2.6% of the global green, social, and sustainability market, with $48.6 billion in cumulative issuance, and we expect continued growth in the region across thematic labels, sectors, and issuers. Social sustainability and sustainably linked bonds will continue to rise. Throughout 2022, we expect to see further deals coming from LAC countries. While climate benefits are central, there is a growing demand on capturing and addressing other social and sustainability benefits from gender, job creation, biodiversity, and pollution control. At the Climate Bonds, this falls into the work we're developing on adaptation and resilience, an important issue for LAC countries which have been particularly vulnerable to climate change impacts. Further sovereign issuances are also expected. In 2021, Mexico, Chile, Ecuador, Guatemala, Colombia, and Uruguay either issued green, social, sustainability, and sustainably linked labeled bonds. Colombia was the first country in LAC to issue a sovereign green bond in local currency, while Uruguay was the first to issue a sustainably linked bond tied to its NDC. We expect to see further issuances in 2022. We also expect to see more diversification in the use of proceeds. While energy remains as the most funded sector in the LAC region, issuances from transport, water, and agriculture sectors will continue to grow in 2022. This has been supported by the climate bonds in LAC through our standards and certification work. New players will also enter the market. Over the past 2 years, there has been a growing global interest of insurance company in sustainable finance. The impact of climate change and resulting material and economic losses, that is climate risk, are relevant for insurers. Thus, the role of insurers is important to manage climate risk in the long term. The same is true for LAC. And an interesting fact is that the UNWMO State of Climate in Latin America and the Caribbean for 2020 points to the impact of climate change to livelihood and disaster risk in LAC, with 312,000 lives lost and 277 million people directly affected between 1998 and 2020. There will also be a movement toward wider efforts in greening the financial system in addition to thematic bond issuance. In LAC, we are already seeing proposals on cheque verdes in Argentina, fibras verdes in Mexico, CRAs in Brazil, and commercial paper in Peru, and green and parameric insurance policies. Creating common standards and definition is another area that will be relevant for the LAC region. There are discussions on ESG about transparency, reporting, and disclosure, which also impact LAC. There have been efforts in the market to establish more standardized reporting requirements and data disclosure, a topic that will continue throughout 2022. Harmonization to international standards are also happening in local taxonomies that are being developed in the region. So far, Colombia has the most advanced green taxonomy, a classification methodology similar to that of the EU, and whose development has been supported by the climate bonds, the IFC, the financial regulator, and the Colombian Ministry of Finance. Chile is also working with the climate bonds and the IDB to develop a national taxonomy. And in Mexico, the Committee of Sustainable Finance, where the Mexican Central Bank and Mexico's Ministry of Finance are part of, established 4 working groups. One of them aims to develop a national taxonomy. And lastly, the Dominican Republic also joined the countries interested in developing a national taxonomy in the region. Other LAC countries are likely to follow on taxonomy development, and implementation and usability will play a key role this year. In addition to green and sustainable taxonomies, the Climate Fund is also working on transition standards and pathways. These are important for LAC countries as well. And in 2022, we will work on cement, basic chemicals, steel, and agriculture and food systems, the latter with a strong focus on supply chains. And all these efforts are important to avoid greenwashing, which is another important issue in the sustainable finance agenda for LAC. As the market grows, it is important to focus on green credentials to provide confidence on sustainable investments. The Climate Bond Certification Scheme can support these efforts, and we expect to see more certification in areas hydro, agriculture, and transportation. In 2021, 15% of the Climate Bond certified deals came from the region, and we expect this to grow in the coming years. This is a snapshot of what we expect to see in the region this year, and we hope to have you join us in this journey.